All right, strap in, everybody, because today we are taking a deep dive into something pretty intense.
Oh, yeah. The Doomsday Clock.
Definitely intense.
Oh,
You know,
boy.
that symbolic clock that basically tells us how close we are to global catastrophe.
Yeah, like a checkup for the planet.
But, like, way more intense.
And the results are not looking good this year.
Not good at all, because it just got set to 89 seconds to midnight.
Yeah, the closest it's ever been.
So that's what we're going to unpack in this deep dive.
Using a recent news article we found as our guide.
Yeah, a really fascinating one.
It is.
So the Doomsday Clock.
Yeah.
It's not like some ancient prophecy or anything.
No.
It was created back in 1947 by scientists who worked on the Manhattan Project.
Oh, wow.
So, the folks who developed the atomic bomb.
Talk about a group with a pretty unique perspective on, like...
Existential threats.
Yeah, existential threats.
It's interesting how the clock has evolved over time, though.
It really has.
Originally, it really just focused on the threat of nuclear war.
Which made sense at the time. You know,
Totally.
like in the context of the Cold War.
Yeah, back then it was like, are we going to nuke each other or not?
Exactly.
But obviously things have gotten a lot more complex.
Much more complex.
Since then.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, in 2007,
Okay.
the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, who managed the clock, decided to start including climate change in their calculations.
That's a pretty big
Huge.
turning point, I think.
It is.
Because it's not just about bombs anymore.
Right.
It's about the long-term sustainability of our planet, which is arguably
A bigger threat.
even bigger, way more complex.
Way more complex.
Right.
And it's a recognition that, like, the threats to humanity are multifaceted now and interconnected.
Exactly. And what I find interesting about this year's update to the clock is how much the article emphasizes this interconnectedness
Oh, yeah, for sure.
of all these different threats.
Like how all these global crises are feeding into each other.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics.
Let's do it.
The article mentions a bunch of factors that are pushing the clock closer to midnight.
Yeah.
I mean, 89 seconds.
It's scary.
That's got to be a combo of some pretty serious stuff.
Some serious stuff.
Right.
The most alarming is probably the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, and the potential for nuclear escalation.
Oh, right.
I mean, that one's been keeping me up at night.
Definitely.
But the article goes beyond just like the headlines.
Oh, yeah, it goes deeper.
What are the specific arguments it makes about the nuclear threat?
Well, it talks about how the conflict has eroded trust between, like, all the nuclear powers, making communication and diplomacy more difficult.
Yeah.
And it also brings up concerns about
Accidents.
Yeah, like miscalculation or accidents.
Especially given the tension.
Oh, yeah, the tension is so high.
I mean, even if nobody actually wants to launch nukes,
right.
the fact that it's even
On the table?
it's terrifying.
Yeah, terrifying.
And it's not just Russia and Ukraine either. Right.
Right.
The article also talks about the Israel-Hamas conflict.
Oh, right.
And it really highlights how these regional conflicts can contribute to global instability.
And what I thought was really interesting was how the article connects those geopolitical tensions to the rise of misinformation.
Oh, that's a big one.
And propaganda.
It's huge.
I mean, how does the article connect misinformation to, like, the doomsday clock?
Yeah, like how is fake news an existential threat?
Right.
Well, the article calls misinformation a
Okay.
potent threat multiplier.
A threat multiplier.
Yeah.
Okay. What does that mean?
Basically, it means that it makes all the other threats worse.
Oh, okay.
Because it undermines our ability to even agree on what's true.
So it makes it harder to actually address those big problems.
Exactly.
Because we can't even agree on what the problems are.
And what the solutions are.
Right.
It mentions how misinformation erodes public trust in institutions and in experts, which makes it way harder to, like, build consensus.
And take collective action.
Yeah, we've all seen how divisive things can get online.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
So basically, we're all arguing about what's real while the planet is, like,
Burning.
literally burning.
And the threat of nuclear war is looming.
Yeah, not great.
Not great.
But I'm guessing the doomsday clock doesn't just stop there, right?
You're right, it doesn't.
What else is on the list?
Another major concern is the rapid advancement of technology.
Okay, like what kind of technology?
Like artificial intelligence.
AI, okay.
Yeah, it's a big one.
I mean, AI has the potential to be so amazing.
It does.
But it also feels like it could get really out of control really fast.
Definitely.
So what's the article's take?
It basically says that AI could be used in a lot of harmful ways.
Like what?
Like autonomous weapons systems.
Killer robots?
Yeah, killer robots.
Are we really talking about killer robots?
It's a real concern.
That is wild.
Scary.
So what else does it say about AI?
That the development of AI is moving way faster than our ability to regulate it.
Oh, for sure.
And control it.
It's like we're creating something we don't even understand.
Right, and that we can't control.
So we've got this lack of control over AI, plus the spread of misinformation.
Right.
And escalating geopolitical tensions.
That's all looking good.
It's like the perfect storm of risk.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got war, climate change, AI potentially going rogue, and a whole lot of misinformation swirling around.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's enough to make you want to, like...
Bury your head in the sand?
Yeah, just completely check out.
Definitely.
But I'm guessing the article has to offer some hope, right?
It does. It does.
I mean, the doomsday clock has moved further away from midnight before.
It has. Yeah, it's not meant to be like
okay.
a prophecy of doom.
Right.
It's more of a call to action.
Okay.
And the article points out that, like,
okay.
we've managed to turn back time.
Yeah, like in 1991 after the Cold War.
Exactly.
That was a pretty significant moment.
It was.
Yeah.
The signing of the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty.
START.
Yeah, START.
Okay.
That marked a major step towards reducing nuclear arsenals.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists recognized that by, like, moving the clock back to 17 minutes to midnight.
17 minutes?
Yeah.
That's a huge jump.
That's huge.
In the right direction.
It shows that progress is possible.
So we have made progress before, which means...
We can do it again.
We can do it again.
Oh,
okay, I like that.
We're not powerless.
So the article emphasizes that we're not powerless in the face of all these threats.
Exactly.
And that we're not just sitting here waiting for the end of the world.
No.
Okay.
It talks a lot about individual actions and systemic change.
So let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
What does it say about the role of, like...
Individual action?
Individual acts.
Like, what can one person do?
Yeah. It's easy to feel like our individual choices don't really make a difference when you're talking about these massive global problem.
It's true. You can feel very small.
Yeah.
But the article argues that individual actions are super important.
Okay.
Because, like, when you multiply those actions across millions or billions of people,
okay,
you know, it can actually create, like, a ripple effect that leads to broader societal shifts.
How interesting.
So it mentions things like, you know...
What kind of things?
Reducing your carbon footprint.
Okay.
Engaging in conversations about these issues.
Like talking about it.
Talking about it, yeah, with your friends, with your family.
Okay.
And supporting organizations that are, like, working to address these threats.
It's kind of like that classic...
Think globally, act locally.
Yeah, think globally, act locally.
Yeah.
But I got to push back a little bit here. Like, sure, I can recycle, I can bike to work, but, like, does that really make a difference when we have...
Steam corporations.
Yeah, these huge corporations spewing out tons of emissions every single day.
That's a valid point.
Right?
It's not just about individual actions.
Okay.
It's also about systemic change.
So changes in policies and regulations and...
Economic system.
Yeah, like big picture stuff.
Big picture stuff.
Okay.
With government regulations on carbon emissions. Investing in renewable energy.
Okay.
Holding corporations accountable for their environmental impact.
Gotcha. So it's not an either.
It's both.
We need both.
Yeah.
Individual action and systemic change.
To really make a difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
And the article uses this example of the movement to ban plastic straws.
Oh, yeah.
Like, individually...
That seems so small.
Giving up a plastic straw seems like nothing.
Yeah.
But the collective effort brought so much awareness to the issue of plastic pollution.
And put pressure on businesses
to
offer alternatives.
Yeah, like to adopt more sustainable alternatives.
That's a good example.
It is.
Because it shows how individual choices, when they're like amplified, can create a tipping point.
A tipping point, exactly.
That leads to bigger changes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but the article also talks about misinformation.
Oh, yeah.
As a threat multiplier.
A huge one.
So how do we even begin to fight against that?
That's a good question.
It's not like I can single-handedly dismantle a disinformation campaign.
It's tough, but the article does have some suggestions.
Okay, what does it say?
Well, it talks about the importance of media literacy.
So, like, being critical of the information that we're consuming.
Exactly. And seeking out, like, reliable sources.
Right.
And it also mentions the role of education.
Yeah.
In helping people develop the skills to, like, identify misinformation.
And, like, combat it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like,
Being aware of your own biases,
yeah.
fact-checking before you share things, and calling out misinformation when you see it.
So a lot of personal responsibility.
A lot of personal responsibility, but it also talks about platform accountability.
Oh, okay, so like holding social media company
Yeah.
responsible for all the misinformation that spreads on their platforms.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so like pressuring these companies to implement better content moderation policies.
Yeah.
Crack down on bots and fake accounts.
Okay. It's like a multi-pronged approach.
So it's not just about changing our own habits.
It's also about, like, demanding change from
from the people in power.
people in power, yeah.
Like voting for leaders who actually prioritize these issues.
Exactly.
Holding corporations accountable.
Yeah.
Speaking out against injustice.
Yeah, using your voice.
Using your voice.
It all comes down to choices.
I like that. It all comes down to choices.
The choices we make.
The choices we make as individuals.
The actions we take.
The policies that we support.
All of it shapes the future.
It's really powerful.
It is.
That the doomsday clock is not just a reminder of the challenges.
It's also...
but also a call to action.
Yeah.
And that we actually have agency.
We do have agency.
We're not just...
We're not powerless.
Yeah, we can make choices that can create a more just and sustainable world.
We really can.
I'm starting to feel a little bit more hopeful.
Good. Me too.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how do we turn this feeling of urgency,
Yeah.
this awareness of all these threats,
Right.
into concrete action?
Good question.
What can our listeners actually do?
Well, the article gives us some suggestions,
Okay, like what?
like supporting organizations that are working on these issues,
Okay.
whether that's through volunteering or donating, or even just spreading the word.
So getting the word out.
Getting the word out, yeah.
Okay.
And also engaging in conversations
With like your community.
with your community, yeah.
Having those difficult conversations.
Those tough conversations.
About climate change, about
Nuclear proliferation,
the ethical implications of new technologies.
all of it.
Yeah, I feel like those conversations can be tough, though.
They can be.
Especially in today's climate.
Yeah, where everybody's like...
It feels very polarized.
Very polarized. But the article makes the point that those conversations are essential.
So it's about finding common ground.
Finding common ground. Yeah.
Building bridges.
Building bridges.
Working together to find solutions.
Exactly.
I'm sensing a theme here.
What's that?
It's all about choices.
It is, yeah.
Individual actions, collective efforts, systemic change.
It all comes back to choices.
It all comes back to the choices that we make.
The doomsday clock is like a reflection.
Of the choices that we've made.
Yeah, of the choices that we've made.
But it's also a reminder that we have the power.
We do.
To make different choices.
And to create a different future.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into the doomsday clock,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listener with one final question.
Okay.
If the doomsday clock is like a reflection of our choices, what choices will you make to turn it back?
That's the big question.
It's a big question.
It can feel kind of overwhelming, you know?
Yeah.
With the scale of all these problems.
We've been talking about some heavy stuff today.
We have.
Nuclear threats, climate change,
AI.
runaway AI.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
the article reminds us that the clock age has moved away from midnight before.
Right. We've done it.
We have.
Like we managed to pull back from the brink during the Cold War.
Exactly.
So that means change us possible.
Change is possible.
It's happened before.
It has.
So what's going to be the turning point this time?
That's what we need to figure out.
What can we do to create a better future?
Well, the article doesn't offer, like,
Okay.
one simple solution.
Right?
Like, there's no magic bullet.
Okay.
But it does emphasize this multifaceted approach. It's not just about individual action.
Okay.
It's also about, like,
Collective efforts.
collective effort.
Systemic change.
Yeah, it's like a three-legged stool.
Oh, I like that.
You need all three legs for it to stand.
Okay, so for our listener who's feeling fired up,
Yeah.
maybe also a little lost, like,
Yeah, where do I start?
Where
Where do
do-
I even begin?
what's that first step?
Yeah, what's step one?
I think step one is just awareness.
Yeah, just start paying attention
To what?
to the choices you make every day
Okay, like in my daily life.
in your daily life.
Okay.
How do those choices impact, like, all these big issues?
Okay.
Are you supporting companies that align with your values?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so like thinking about where I spend my money.
Exactly.
Okay.
Are you having those, like, tough conversations?
Oh, those are hard.
They are hard.
but important.
But super important.
With friends, with family.
Even when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, even when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, because it's like that say,
Vote with your wallet.
vote with your wallet.
But it's also about using your voice.
Using your voice, yeah.
Speaking up about these issues.
Yeah.
Demanding change from our leaders.
Stuff
Holding
like that.
corporations accountable.
It all matters.
And don't underestimate the power of community.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Finding your people.
Yeah, connect with organizations.
Yeah, get involved.
That are working on these issues.
Volunteer, donate.
Spread the word.
Yeah, just talk about it.
Because facing these global challenges alone is...
It's scary.
Yeah, it's pretty daunting.
We need each other.
We do.
Yeah.
We need support. We need to learn from each other.
Yeah.
We need to, inspire each other to action.
Definitely.
And sometimes we need to push each other a little bit, too.
A little bit.
Right.
Challenge each other.
Challenge each other to think critically.
To question assumptions.
Yeah.
To see things from a different perspective.
And to have those respectful dialogues.
Always respectful.
Yeah.
Even when we disagree.
Because ultimately...
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We share this planet.
We do.
We all have a responsibility to take care of it.
So, as we leave you today...
Yeah.
Dear listener...
We want to leave you with a sense of...
Hope.
Hope.
The Doomsday Clock is a serious reminder...
It is.
Of the urgency of our situation.
Yeah.
But it's also a testament to our capacity for change.
Absolutely.
The power really is in your hands.
It is.
Judge wisely.